Takes don't stop when the mics turn off. Check out the KFAN YouTube channel for exclusive videos, in-depth takes, initials, and password games, and behind-the-scenes content. Search KFAN on YouTube and hit subscribe today.
Speaking of password games, the results of yesterday's quarterfinal matchup still reverberate all across.
Shocking.
It was shocking. It really is. And I'll tell you what, the takes on program password, they don't stop once the microphones turn off. I'll tell you that. Oh, if we could only hear what they have to say behind the scenes. They have takes that aren't on the air. How special. Let's do 534. It's brought to you by our friends at the Willow River Company.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Brought to you by Willow River Company. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Boy, they're deep into it, too, aren't they?
Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
Yeah, the Twins lost to the Astros 2-1 last night at Target Field. Zebby Matthews gave up just 2 runs on 5 hits over 6 innings, striking out 6 and walking none. But the Twins offense struggled again, though they did get 3 hits and an RBI from Josh Bell and 2 doubles from Byron Buxton, who made his return to the lineup. Colin, what sticks out to you from last night's Twins loss?
I like 2-1 games, just don't like being on the losing end. And again, I shouldn't admit this working at the All-Sport. How many people listening last night even watched? Does anybody watch the Twins? And this isn't meant to be a Twins rip. We do that all the time. We do plenty of Twins ripping, but because the team is, and I know that because of the American League is down this year as far as record-wise, and so is the division, that the Twins, like, mathematically, you can still say, hey, we're okay, but because the team, there's not a lot of hope to be sold. Are people even watching the game, or is it just and if it is on, is it just background? But I like 2-1 games. I guess the reason I asked if people were watching, I'd like to know, is it because our offense is that woefully inadequate, or did Houston have a guy that was he was making his pitches last night? He was hitting his spots. He was getting called strikes. He was painting the corners. Because I've made no bones about it. I've made it perfectly clear. I love 2-1 ball games. You know, I'd like a little offense. I don't mind that occasionally. A 9-6 game can be fun. Who doesn't like a good old-fashioned slow-pitch softball game? But so I like that. I like that Buxton's back, and in his short time away, he missed what? Was it 5, 6, 7 games? Picks up where he left off. He's had a nice season so far. And then Zebby Matthews. That's a nice, you know.
The Astros starter last night,
yeah,
Jason Alexander, entered the game having allowed 10 earned runs over 6 1/3 innings this season.
So it's our hittings. That's the problem. It's our hitting. Jason Alexander, isn't that the name of the
Seinfeld guy?
Yeah, Seinfeld guy. I wonder if they're any relation at all. Jason Alexander.
I never really watched Seinfeld.
Yeah. The last situation comedy that I watched on a regular basis was Hogan's Heroes. That was back in the 1960s, so it's been a long time since I've watched television myself. But I've watched a few Seinfeld episodes. It's a show about nothing. I understand why people like it. I think it's, and that's where I will get at least 1 or 2 emails a year where people say, hey, I saw the sticker on the refrigerator of Seinfeld's place that says Skip Barber Racing School. There's a sticker, some kind of a bumper sticker that's on his refrigerator that says Skip Barber Racing School, which I'm a graduate of. Yeah, you know, I like 2-1. I like that Buxton's back, and I like that Zebby Matthews pitched well, but it's just doesn't mean much when you lose another game.
Question number 2. Rumor mill.
Rumor has it, controversy.
Yeah, BringMeTheNews.com actually highlighted some big Wolves rumors that are already out there.
Okay.
Scoop B. Johnson tweeted that Anthony Edwards...
Scoop?
Something called Scoop B. Johnson.
Okay.
He tweeted that Anthony Edwards is, quote, privately pushing for a healthy Kyrie Irving to join him with the T-Wolves. Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report's live stream believes that Rudy Gobert's time in Minnesota could be coming to an end.
Yeah.
And Fisher also said that Minnesota is going to try to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Common, your thoughts on these Rumors.
Is this Bring Me the News guy? Is he local? Scoop B. Johnson?
No.
Oh. Because I was
Bring Me the News just put all the rumors together on one article.
I see, because I was about to say, it sounds like Scoop B. Johnson was listening to the Dan Barrero show, because I talked to Big Ticket. In the passing of the baton, I asked him about, I think my question for him was, do you think the Timberwolves are a terrible team in a terrible city with terrible fans, or a terrible stadium, or is it just because the two teams above them, San Antonio and Oklahoma City, are that much better? And he kind of gave me the, kind of a combo platter, right? That those two teams are real good. But like he said, too, well, you can't assume that both those teams will have
their exact roster moving forward.
Yeah. That they're going to have to pay guys eventually, and guys want more than maybe you can afford. Then you have to let guys go. And who knows if they stay healthy? How do you know if, like, next year, who were those young, the Harper kid for San Antonio?
Mm-hmm.
Great player. His old man played for the Bulls, right? I mean, he could come down with a bad knee. He could blow out a hammy, or no, what was it that DiVincenzo blew out? Achilles. He blows out a. So any of their young players could go out, but Barrero did, and I tend to agree. He said he wouldn't mind going after Kyrie Irving. But as Big Ticket said, and I absolutely agree 100% with this, almost any move you make is a risk. It's fraught with peril. Sure. He's 33 years old. He's injury riddled. Is he only 33? I feel like he's older. Yeah, maybe he is. Maybe I heard.
Well, it just seems like he's been around longer.
No, you're right. I mean, he was Baby Brother Peter's favorite player when Baby Brother Peter was still playing grade school basketball. Maybe he's older.
He's 34.
34. So, and you do need it's. And I do think Randall, I don't know how you bring him back. I don't know. It's $30 million. Well, maybe because there's nothing else you can do. I don't know how these contracts work. Can you just write him a check and give it to him? I don't think you want to do that either. If there's no takers, because what could you get for Julius Randle right now with the way he played in this last playoff series? Again, I was talking to Big Ticket, and again, he's part of the basketball community, and he's Timberwolves superfan Dan Barrero. I agree with this as well. How you put Julius Randle back into the second half of that last game against the Spurs is beyond me. He was terrible. You got to try something. I don't know why they didn't play the Baron. And I understand that the Beranger kid is a rookie. He's only really been playing basketball for like 2 or 3 years of his life. He wasn't a basketball player until all of a sudden he became a basketball player because they said, you're really tall. You should play basketball. Okay. Or no, he said, oui. He's French too, isn't he? Beranger. Oui. Isn't that yes in French?
Yes. Oui.
Oui. Yeah. So, oui. And so he started playing. But with as bad as Randall's play, you got to try something. And I've never understood why, young guys sit on the bench forever and ever and ever and ever and never play. It's like, can't you find him some minutes somewhere? But, I don't know if that kid's got a future or not, but I don't know what you do. What can
well, if he does, then I think you need to ship out Rudy Gobert.
Yeah. And
Rudy's a quality player. I think we all know what he can bring. I think you can win an NBA title with him on your roster in a certain role, but he shouldn't be one of the guys making the big three money on your team. Yeah. I don't think he's just to that level. Yeah. No, so that makes him hard to trade. But if Beranger is able to give you what Rudy did, which when we drafted him, they basically said, well, those are the stuffs he can do well, then it makes sense to try to ship out Gobert and bring in the younger, cheaper option. Yeah.
There's a lot of plenty of decisions the front office has to make, and I don't know how easy any of them are because of I don't know what you could get for Gobert, and I don't know if, obviously Connolly gave up a whole heck of a lot to get Rudy Gobert. And if you'll remember at the time, I thought, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm willing to try everything in it. I guess it did work. I mean, with him on the team, they got to the Western Conference Finals that first year with him on, and then they lost.
It worked in the short term, but the long term.
Yes, exactly. And then they got. They're
going to be feeling the effects of that for quite some time.
They got rid of Big Meow. Was that just like 2 or 3 days before the season started? And I didn't really like that one. I mean, I understood the financial repercussions if they couldn't keep them, but And look, I know that, I just like getting the local basketball community going about, I overrate Big Meow, but I do think he's a really talented player and he brings a lot to the floor and a lot to the team and the locker room and that whole thing. And right now, if you said to me, all things being equal, you can have Gobert or Karl Anthony Towns, I'd take Karl Anthony Towns for sure. So I don't know what I think I said it yesterday. I think they're in trouble. I do. And then someone, sent me an email and go, yeah, but you also said you thought they'd beat they'd lose to the Nuggets in the first round of the playoffs. And I did. I thought they were going to lose to the Nuggets. I'm still surprised they won. I'm not happy with the attitude of the team, the moodiness, and the not listening to the coach. Those things annoy me. Those are things where I don't know why you're moody. You're playing basketball. Have fun. Things are going well.
How can you be making tens of millions of dollars?
I don't know.
Playing a game and be so moody?
I don't know, because they're not getting their touches, I guess. And then the idea that they don't listen to the coach. And is that because they don't like the coach, so they don't listen to him? Or is it just because they don't listen to the coach because they just want to play pickup basketball? I think it's more the latter than it is the former. But it all remains to be seen.
Could we do a quick one?
Yeah, sure.
Question number 3. And now it's time to go in the paint.
The Oklahoma City Thunder look to bounce back from their Game 1 loss as they host the Spurs tonight in Game 2. Obviously, San Antonio leads that series 1-0. Common. Will OKC bounce back tonight?
Well, we'll find out, Tennessee, if they've got that championship blood. The more I watch Wembanyama, the more I am. I talk about idolizing. I'll do it. I'll idolize and pedestalize him. I've not. I think it was. I think I have the right player. I think it was Ben. Was it Ben Hogan? Either Ben Hogan or somebody looked at Jack Nicholson and said he plays a game with which I'm just not familiar.
Yeah.
And I look at Wembanyama, and he plays a game with which I'm just not familiar. You just don't see it. So,
and they won that game without De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah. I say they do even the series. I think they, it's sort of like, the Wild dug down deep, and they were able to come back and beat Dallas, and they were also able to, they won one game. I mean, they fought back, and they should have won a second game, but. Yeah,
I'm predicting a free throw discrepancy tonight, and that SGA is going to be getting to the line quite a bit.
I like that.
That's what I'm predicting.
I love the conspiracy.
NBA wants that series to go 6-7.
I think they do 6-7 for sure.
6-7.
Willow River Company, they're your outdoor living experts. They didn't install my irrigation system, but they got it hit in every area. They fine-tuned it for me. And then I told you this, my back landscaped area had trees that were there. They're tree experts. They have arborists. Whether it's nutrient deficiencies, whether it's disease, whether it's pests eating away at your trees, they handle it all. Willow River Company, your outdoor living experts. Whatever your lawn care needs are, yard care, whatever, landscaping, go to willowrivercompany.com. That's willowrivercompany.com.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword FUN at KFAN.com now for your shot of winning. The keyword is FUN. Enter now at KFAN.com.
The Common Man.
He's the king of misinformation.
The Power Trip is taking over the island via Treasure Island May 28th and 29th for 2 shows, bursting with laughs, games, and incredible prizes, including trips to Vegas. Book your stay and save 20% with promo code KFAN, plus a huge announcement you won't want to miss. Get the details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
It's like, hello?
Double 13-14 past. I'm Comedies, Tennessee. So Deuce will do this to me often, Tennessee. He'll do this bit where he'll say, which would you rather do? You have to do one or the other. He'll say, go to a Wild versus Colorado hockey game and sit in the middle of the stands with people all around you for the 2.5, 3 hours of the game. Or would you rather watch a 5-hour documentary on the NFL Network idolizing and pedestalizing the Green Bay Packers, or plunge your head into a boiling hot vat of asphalt? Every single time I opt for the asphalt. If those were my three choices, I would take asphalt. I have a similar one for you, Tennessee.
Okay.
This is your choice. Attend either the NCAA Wrestling Championships here in the Twin Cities,
Okay.
WWE SummerSlam at US Bank Stadium in August, or the National Football League Draft, which is coming, is that 2028?
2028, yeah.
2028. Which of those, you have to attend one of those? Which one would you select?
I'm not one of those that's super excited about going to the NFL draft here.
Right.
Like, it's great that it's here and it's going to bring in hundreds of millions of dollars to our economy. But I can just watch it on I like the NFL draft. I can watch it on television. So I'm not like one of those that's rubing out that they're coming here. But with those three options, I would pick the NFL draft.
What if the fourth was plunge your head into a boiling hot vat of asphalt?
Then I have to think about it. But I'm not a big, like college wrestling. I don't even know how all the rules that go into it.
I just know it's takedown, full Nelson.
I wouldn't be able to tell you, why someone is beating the other person.
Do they allow you to cool somebody with a folding chair like at WWE SummerSlam? But they don't do that in real wrestling, right?
No. They'd be a lot better if they did.
I told you back in junior high when they had wrestling, I intentionally would let the guy pin me. He probably would have anyway. The idea of wrestling around on a mat with another sweaty guy, just trying to see if I can pin him. But what's the point? That's another one of those sports where there's no practical purpose in life. You can't use it. Other than, I guess, if you're getting mugged.
I was going to say, I think there is plenty of times where you could use it.
So how many times have you been attacked and needed to wrestle somebody? I never have had to.
If you're getting bullied?
I've never had to in my life. Not when I was...
I was going to say, I thought your record was like 2-9 behind the pines.
That's when you're a little kid, when you're stupid and you're dumb and you settled your scores that way. I'm talking about once you become an adult, you graduate from college and go, you know what, those wrestling skills, I'm going to put them to good use. Just waiting for some guy to try to roll me in an alley. I'll show him. I'll give him a forearm shiver. I'll body slam him and put him in a figure 4 leg lock that he'll never forget. And you never wash those gym uniforms either. They never left the locker except when you put them on and then put them back. By the end of this year, you could just stand them up. They'd be so stiff from just, sweat and dry and sweat and dry and sweat and dry and sweat and dry. But you didn't want to just get whipped right away because then you would get teased and bullied, like you say. So you'd try to really fight real hard. Then I'd go, okay, that's enough. And boom. Oh, he got me. And then you'd feign like you got a back spasm or something like that. And that's the only reason you lost. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. The financial promise of hosting the draft is high. The University of Minnesota did a study. They worked with the MSE. The MSE is, let me see what that is. Is that
Minnesota Sports Entertainment?
Is that what it is? MSE, Minnesota Sports Entertainment? Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. They did some kind of a study. And it said, MSC worked with the University of Minnesota on a report that projected $204 million in economic impact for the state thanks to the NFL draft. That number includes projected visitor spending in the metro area. Only 2 other cities have reported more than $200 million in economic impact after hosting the draft. Nashville in 2019 and Detroit in 2024. Nashville won the bid for big game LXIV in 2030 on Tuesday. I don't know how they come up with that. I guess they look at other, the draft has been held at a number of different cities. There's a chart here that says, I think it was always in New York for the longest time. Then they said, hey, let's make this like a circus. We'll just go town to town, up and down the dial. Chicago had 200,000 people attend in 2015. They brought it back to Chicago. 225 people attended, or 225,000 people. Then in Philadelphia, 250. Dallas, 200. Nashville, 600,000. COVID made it a virtual draft in 2020. Then Cleveland had 160,000 people. They're never going back to Cleveland again. Las Vegas, 312 in Kansas City. Detroit, 775,000 people attended the draft. Green Bay, it was 600,000. And then Pittsburgh last year set the record at 805.
I can't believe we've had that many drafts at different locations. I felt like this was like 3 years ago we started doing this.
I would have said the same thing. And again, I understand if you're really into the draft and you like the National Football League, it's kind of an inexpensive, because I think it's a free event. They don't charge you to get into the draft, I don't think, and it's generally held like kind of in an outdoor area, so that it's just thousands and thousands of people can rube it up wearing their jerseys and their cheese wedges on their head or whatever, their eye patches if they're Raider fans, and they can cheer along, but I don't know how they come up with this number, but they must look at it. This is how many people. They'll stay at this many hotel rooms. They'll spend this much on drinks and this much on consuming food and renting cars. And, I suppose if you're in town in March now here, you won't be a lot of golf. But, for instance, probably some people that play golf. So all of a sudden, people, like when it's held in, like, let's say, Las Vegas. Hey, we'll go golfing, too, as long as we're there. And then we'll spend some. Then I don't know if they figure casino money into it. How much will people lose at the casino? So I guess it's a good thing, right? Because I've always thought that the numbers that they say will be attracted by, I've always thought they seem overblown to me. It doesn't matter what event it is. When a city's vying for it, obviously their best argument that they can throw at people in the state is, do you have any idea how much money will be generated to the local economy because of this? And sometimes I've looked at those numbers and I go, you got to be kidding. There can't be that much. But I guess I got to take their word for it, because that's what they get paid to do. And it's all for one and one for all. But yeah.
I don't know how they can really actually track that, though.
Well, I think, like I say, they just guess of how many hotel rooms. They look at how many hotel rooms were rented in Pittsburgh during that time that normally.
Yeah.
You look at Pittsburgh hotel rooms year after year after year in the month of March, and then if there's a big there's a big uptick in the month of March. Okay, there was this. So it's an inexact science, but yeah, I think that's how they do it. But more money in the economy, hallelujah, let's do it. Let's also break. We'll come back. Another hour and a half to go. Controversial Vikings news and other topics on the other side of the break. It's the Common Man program with Common Antenna B right here on the Fan.
The Common Man.
When it's funny and smart.
Yep, it's both.
That's the way.
KFAN welcomes some great shows to Grand Casino Arena in the next year, including Lionel Richie.
Nobody told me there'd be days like these.
With Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round.
On June 24th, and The Smashing Pumpkins.
Wah, wah. Dun, 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 dun.
On October 13th, tickets are on sale now. Get the complete details on all of our upcoming shows on the concert page at KFAN.com, keyword calendar. I was bummed you missed the last vibe because it was all Power Trip related. We could have been laughing so much.
Well, we love the Power Trip. What was it about the Power Trip?
Take a guess.
There you go. They're going to Las
Why don't you
Vegas.
take a shot at it?
They're going to Vegas again?
Hey, you nailed it. Yeah, they're going to be at Treasure Island May 28th, 29th for 2 shows, bursting with laughs, games, and incredible prizes, including trips to Vegas. And they have a huge announcement you don't want to miss.
Be still my beating heart. I wonder what that announcement could be. We don't even know. They don't even let you and I.
No.
That's how big
We're
it
not
is.
privy to that.
That's how big it is. I like Vegas. Oh, wait, I don't. There's a text message that came into the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text that says, why are there no longer any super shows? You've heard it. Barrero says, he said on that liner, he says, I used to love him. I don't love him anymore. He doesn't like me, I guess. It's just, he doesn't want to come in early, and I don't want to stay late. Right? That's really explains it. Once the bell rings, Mother Nature, she's quite the gal. She says, you've had enough, and then I go home. This says, when we're asking about what would you rather do, this one says SummerSlam. Easily. What kind of numbers, viewership does it must be really successful because it's been going for years and years and years. Are there competing wrestling leagues? There's like WWE and
I don't know what there is anymore. There used to be the WCW and the NWO, but I don't know. I don't follow wrestling.
Yeah, I guess I don't either. But I would. I think NFL's king, but after that, is it WWE? Does they have more viewership than any other sporting event? If you call that a sporting event, I mean it's
acting.
I think it is, but I don't know. Maybe
it's like a musical. It's like a play.
Maybe it's real. I used to think it was real back when I watched when I was a kid. But yeah, I think it is very popular. I think it's just one of those. It's just escapism you have. It's sort of like it's like comic books, right? You have Batman and Robin and Superman and Spider-Man and all those, and it's just a way to just let yourself go. This one says, I bet Blandon wish he had some wrestling skills when Barney the Purple Dinosaur used to tickle his sides. Till you told him if you do that again, I'll punch you.
I threatened him.
Yeah.
And maybe some of my wrestling moves paid off in the threat. He's like, I ain't messing with that.
Yeah, he... Here's a couple of people. This one says, NCAA wrestling will be awesome. No folding chairs are allowed. And then this one says, full Nelsons are not legal in college wrestling. I understand that. I know it's not. Vern Gagne did the sleeper hold. You can't put the sleeper hold was the very best because as a kid, you're too stupid to know that the guy's just pretending he's been put to sleep. Gagne would put him in this hold and the guy would be like trying to fight. And then all of a sudden he'd go, ugh. He would doze off. It was a sleeper hold. It was impossible to stop.
How about that we, in a world where you can do the sleeper hold, like the referee doesn't immediately call the fight off to you. They still let you go even though you've basically been knocked out.
I had so many memories. And we've probably recanted these tales before. When I watched it as a kid, when they had it on Channel 11, that was the days of, Vern Gagne, The Crusher, Dr. X, Cowboy Bill Watts, Kenny J. They would show it on TV at 6 o'clock on Saturday. And then it was just a teaser. It was almost like an infomercial. See it for real tonight at the Minneapolis Auditorium, right? And as a kid, you just can't believe it. You're screaming at the TV for the ref to turn around and look as the ref, especially in the tag team matches, the ref would get distracted by one of the tag team guys. So he's over there in the corner berating him. Meanwhile, one of the tag team guys he's pulled out one of those popsicle sticks that the doctors use? So he's, I'd stick your tongue out and say, ah. He would take one of those and he's tearing at the other guy's eyes, right? And the crowd is screaming at the ref, turn around, look, he's cheating, he's gouging the guy's eyes out. By the time the ref turns around, he's put the popsicle stick back in his trunks and he's holding up his hands like this, like, I didn't do anything. Guy's bleeding, his eyeballs hanging out of his head, but hey, he didn't do anything to him. Then the tag team partner distracts him again, so that his buddy can gouge at his eyes some more with the popsicle stick. And the greatest of all time, and I've told you the story before, is they would do interviews after the fights you would see on TV were always one of the stars fighting Willie Get Up or Dusty Trunks, a guy that was going to lose all the time, right? than say watch the Crusher, watch Mad Dog Vachon, watch the two of them fight. You know, the two big names would fight each other, right? And so Crusher's getting interviewed, you know, and Crusher, and he had his brother, I think was Dick the Bruiser. He was another fighter, right? And I thought it was real. I'm 6 years old. I'm mortified by this. I'm a little older than 6. I'm 7, 8 years old. All of a sudden, from off stage, Mad Dog Vachon, whose brother, either brother or cousin, was Rogaton Vachon, the famous Montreal Canadian goalie. Have you ever heard of Rogie Vachon?
Basically through you.
Yeah. So Rogie Vachon was a great goaltender. And so one of them got into a real sport. He got into hockey. The other he comes on with the hedge clippers. And he starts chopping away at Crusher's face. I mean, he's assaulting a man with the hedge clippers. You'd get arrested for, but you don't notice the kid. You go, "Hey!" And there's fake bloods flying everywhere. And Crusher's got blood pouring out of his head. And they go, "Come and see it. See it tonight." And so you run to your dad and you go, Dad, we got to go tonight. Crusher just got attacked by Mad Dog Vachon with the hedge clippers. And you'd go, your old man, well, I guess we got to go. And you'd go down and watch. So I understand the appeal to it, but I got over it when I turned 8.
I was going to say, as a child, yeah. I loved it. As an adult, when you understand what's going on.
But then I think maybe that makes it even better, because then you just go, because you know it's just all, maybe you just.
It's a soap opera at that point.
Yeah, it is a soap opera at that point. Oh, when my cousins, Brian and Brucey, the old man, my uncle was Bruno. They were all BR. Bruno Zurich, and then Brian Zurich and Bruce Zurich. And they would come up it was on my mother's side of the family, my mom's sister. They'd come up for Thanksgiving. And they would always have a Thanksgiving Day. It was either on Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving Friday. They would always do a big car down to Minneapolis, either at the Armory or the Convention Center, wherever it would be. And so we wanted to go really bad. So Uncle Bruno, and then my dad, George, and the 4 boys, me and my brother, my big brother Al, and then Brian and Brucey go down there. And it's smoke-filled, by the way. I mean, it's you could smoke indoors then. So you can barely see the think about how sad that was back then. You can barely see the ring, right? There's smoke everywhere. And it feels like one of those old boxing matches from the 40s. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event of the evening. And it's Dr. X against Cowboy Bill Watts. And Cowboy Bill Watts has got cowboy boots on. And he's got a cowboy hat on. And Dr. X, he came up with a great bit. The guy's name originally was like Dick Martin or something. And he was a wrestler. And then that didn't go well. So he said, I got to come up with you got to have a gimmick. Like you became Tenabee. I became Common. He became the tasteless box of mashed potatoes. He became Meat Sauce. He became Superstar. He became Sludge. And then he changed his name back to Cove. So you have to have a hook, right? And so Dr. X, he had a mask on with a big X on the front. It was just like a mask for it was like a snowmobile, you know, like a winter mask with eyes. He had an X on it. And the big thing was, if I ever get beat, I'll take the mask off and you'll get to see who I am, right? So everybody wanted to see who he was. So we're there at the event. And I mean, I'm as excited as I've ever been. And here's the thing, you'll probably find this shocking. I like the bad guys.
Not surprising, yeah.
Does that mean there's something? Do you think they should do a psychological study on that? I liked the bad guys.
Is that you in movies, too, when you watch movies?
It depends how bad he is. In movies, I guess I'm generally not, no. Though I did like, I think the guy's name was Largo. Thunderball in the movie, a Thunderball movie for James Bond. I think his name was Largo. He had a patch on his eye. I think he got killed when he got shot with a spear gun. I think. Spoiler alert. Sorry, the movie came out in 1964. Spoiler.
I was just going to watch that one. I was going to stream it.
Sorry about that. Spoiler alert. So it's Dr. X against Cowboy Bill. And I'm pulling for Dr. I'm the only guy I think in the arena that wants Dr. X to win, right? And so. And the fans are taunting Dr. X. They're throwing duck decoys into the ring. Get it? He's a quack. He's not a real doctor. And, of course, he's pretending he's mad about it. He's running around the ring, stomping him into pieces, right? And then people got their duck calls out. Quack, quack. They're doing this thing right here.
Quack, quack. Quack, quack.
Well, lo and behold, Cowboy Bill Watts pins Dr. X. So now everybody's excited. He's going to take the mask off. So as as Cowboy Bill Watts is parading around the ring, looking at the crowd, holding his hands, Dr. X crawls over to the ropes, and everybody's going, he's getting it. Stop him. Stop him. And he rolls out of the ring and he runs to the locker room without taking his mask off. He recanted on his promise to take off his mask. And everybody was so bitter. And we never knew who he was. He was just Dr. X. He was one. He looked at the camera during the TV thing. I can remember this like it was yesterday. It was my favorite thing to watch. I couldn't wait for Saturday nights. And then my brother and I would recreate what we watched. We had one of those beds that came out of a couch. Mm-hmm. And then we would pretend that's the ring. And then the couch part would be the turnbuckle. We'd jump off and give each other forearm shivers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just loved it. We would pretend we were. I had a mask on because I was Dr. X. It's just so good. But Dr. X, before the fight, he looks in the TV screen and he goes, 68 was great. Talking about 1968. But 69 is all mine. Then he left and, ooh, Dr. X. And he never took the mask off, man. They never got the mask off because he left the ring. And I guess I was happy that he didn't pull the mask off. But, I used to love that wrestling bit. It was when I was a kid. I ate that stuff up. Just loved it. And then I've told the story where at Donnie Baker over Brewbakers, when I used to do appearances over there in the early days of the Common Man, Secretary of Nightlife, Rock Mononoff was the bar manager, right? And they had wrestling there. They had local wrestling guys, some guy named Blacktop Bully and a couple of other guys. They had another guy who did the mask bit, right? He was wearing a mask, and the celebrity referee was, why do I always forget his name? Somebody will tell me who he is. He was a longtime wrestling figure locally. He's refereeing the match. He's the celebrity referee. So there's two celebrities there, me and referee guy, right? And do you remember the skipper? You used to call into the radio show all the time?
Oh, yeah.
So the skipper's there with me. We're watching, right? And skipper's yelling, I'll give you $20 if you take his mask off. I'll give you $20 if you take his mask off. The referee spins around during the middle, and without missing a beat, he looks back, he goes, for $20, the guy will take it off himself.
Brilliant!
And he would have. Oh, it was just so much fun. And somebody got cooled with a folding chair during it. They pulled out a chair, they hammered him over the head with it. And the thing is I think a lot of these guys actually do get hurt, right?
Sure.
Because when you're jumping off the top rope and throwing people around, and we know it's all just it's a play, still it's hard to always, execute the body slam to perfection where the guy doesn't get hurt. So you see guys getting busted up all the time, but man, I used to love that when I was a kid. And then, like you say, after a while, you just go, it's time to move on. It's time for me to watch something else. Breaking news, Dr. X is back against Cowboy Bill Watts. Please tell me it's going to happen.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Time now for another edition of Mayday in Green Bay. An inside esoteric analysis of the Aaron Rodgers crisis in Titletown, USA.
Might be our last year of Mayday in Green Bay because Aaron Rodgers apparently today, speaking with the media for the first time since re-signing with the Steelers, says, quote, this is it, regarding this being his last year in the National Football League, season number 22. Though I guarantee we'll get into next spring. And he'll still leave the door open for a couple months.
Yeah, he might say, I really haven't made a final decision. It was really encouraging this year. Though, we knew, much like LeBron, isn't LeBron doing that? I don't know what I want to do. And then there's all the speculation, will he come back for another year? Should he come back for another year? Guys like LeBron, and I think he has said he doesn't want the old retirement tour, but I just think that's the opposite. I think Rodgers really wants it, right? Because you only get one chance at the retirement tour, right? If you all of a sudden, like, let's say Rodgers would have announced at the end of this season, that's it, I'm done. Well, then it's over. His day in the spotlight is over, because we've talked about this. He hasn't even said, even recently, that TV booth isn't going to be his kind of thing. Or did I just imagine that? I don't see it happening with him. I don't see him being a TV booth guy like Brady is, right? I think once he's donezo, he's donezo. So you want that retirement tour where every year, every game that the stadium you go to, you're idolized and pedestalized, and how often at every game he plays with a Joe Bucks, or is it Jack Buck? No, Jack's the old man. Joe Buck, Collinsworth, Al Michaels, Herb Tirico, all these guys will just, what a career he's had. Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. Then we're gonna have to go through that, and you either have to consume it, or I guess you could mute the sound, because I think we all know what his how good he's been, but I'm telling you, man, it's. I get 4-time MVP, so first ballot Hall of Fame. I'll give that to you, but I think he left a lot on the table when you only win one game. And I know it's a team game. I understand that, but I think he left a lot on the table. I think if you look back at a number of those playoff losses, he was solely responsible with poor play. It's not as though his team let him down. Guys dropped passes. Game plan was bad. Defense gave up. They were the Swiss cheese defense, or a screen door in a submarine. I think there were many times where he didn't play well. He didn't make the throws he needed to make. And so I think a lot of that was on him. So, I think PA used to call him a big box score, and I always thought that was a little bit of envy and jealousy a little bit, because we've never had a quarterback that
no.
Tarkington posted great numbers, but that was the days in black and white film and one bar across the helmet, folks. That's a long time ago that we've had a quarterback like that. I know Culpepper had his moments. He had a nice stretch there. And we've had other quarterbacks that have been, Favre had the great year for us in 2010, but we've never had a guy where you go, what do you think of our quarterback situation? Now we got a guy that we can just lock in for 10, 12, 15 years. And Rodgers was that guy, but oftentimes I think, especially toward the end in some of those games, I think much of the blame lays squarely at the feet of Aaron Rodgers. Would you agree with that, or
some of those years? Yes. What game was it? Was it against? Man, I forget. There was an NFC Championship game. Might have been against actually Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, where Rodgers could have easily run for the first down. Ended up trying.
Or was it for a touchdown even?
I mean, I guess he potentially could have gotten a touchdown, but he definitely could have ran for the first down, opted not to, held on to it. Then he ended up kicking the field goal, and he had made a comment of, well, I thought we'd go for it on fourth down.
Yeah, right.
There's a couple of those NFC championships. Now, I thought for a good chunk of his career, he was putting up good numbers. His team was scoring in the playoffs, and his defense was letting him down. I felt towards the end of his run in Green Bay, it started to turn the opposite way, where his defense was playing big game caliber championship football, and he was the one who wasn't showing up in the playoffs.
Yeah. And I don't know enough about the Steelers roster right now. Have they made any, were they considered a good draft? A free agency been okay to them? Because they were all right last year, right? They made postseason, correct? Did they win their first postseason game? They were in the playoffs, I think,
were they?
Last year. I thought they were. I thought
they had one of those like 10-7, 9-8 type records.
Maybe they didn't. Maybe it was late in the season they had a chance to get to the playoffs. I know they were in the thick of things for a while. They must
have got in because Baltimore didn't get in. That's right. Yeah, they won the division.
Right, and then I think they got. They got bounced right away. I don't recall. I mean, I can barely remember who. Are the Wolves and Wild done? My memory's bad. I think they're done for the season, right? So.
I know they added Michael Pittman, wide receiver from the Indianapolis Colts. They also drafted a wide receiver, I think, in the second or third round, in Jeremy Bernard. So trying to supplement his options a little bit, but part of it is Aaron that good anymore?
Common is a Packers fan and owner. Wait. Where's the I always love that one.
I always love that one.
As a Packers fan and owner, I couldn't agree with you more about Rodgers' playoff shortcomings. I think he did have them. I do. But, and I just, hey, it'd be a hell of a story if he got his team to the big game and won it in his final year. It'd be a hell of a story, but I just don't.
I think part of him announcing it now is, I don't know if he'll last the entire season.
That could be.
He could be one of those guys that 7-8 games in, they're going, well, I think we're going to move on to a younger option and see what we have for next year.
And
so at least by announcing it now at training camps, preseason games, he's going to get that same treatment.
Yeah. Pittsburgh won the division, hosted Houston, and got smoked.
That's right.
Just got smoked. So,
and then C.J. Stroud basically got smoked in the next game versus New England.
That's exactly right. Local wrestler here, I'll tell you what, can't be faked in wrestling. Falling in gravity, that's for sure. That cannot be faked. We'll pause, come back, another hour to go. No Rosen today. He's got a couple of days off, I think. Maybe back tomorrow, but he's out. We'll come back with more or maybe less here on the Common Man program on the Fan.
The Common Man.